if I could be one superhero from any of the Marvel comics, I think it would have to be Thor, the Norse god of thunder, or at least have his powers. Mainly the power of the hammer, that he gets his strength, agility, and kind of his superhero powers from. But probably just stay myself, maybe not be him. That would be ideal. I think that's what we all really want. When we say we want to be superheroes, we really just want their powers and strengths, but not really be them, not really have their personalities and problems. I think Thor's worst attribute being about having his arrogance, which got him into a lot of trouble. He had family problems back in Asgard, where he was from, the other world, dimension, region, planet, if you will. His father Odin sent him out of Asgard because of his arrogance, because he wanted to fight everybody. He was never happy. He wanted kind of world domination type thing and to be the king of what Odin was. And he also had a kind of horrible half-brother, Loki, that was always getting, he's actually the god of mischief, and he was always getting into trouble, mainly going after Thor, but extreme jealousy and despise for Thor and everything that Thor did. And the hammer, which I mentioned earlier, gave Thor all his strength, so when Odin exiled Thor, he lost the hammer and therefore lost all his strength of being the god of thunder. But having the hammer, you can go through different worlds and also create thunder wherever you are. I don't think I'd be as arrogant as Thor and establish all the enemies that he's got. That's kind of where it all came from, because usually he thinks he could save the world, which I don't think I would be if I had those type of powers. I think I'd be more subdued, or at least want to be. They got into trouble a lot with his family, as I mentioned before, so I think everybody can relate to that as having family problems, either as an adult or a child, mainly a teenager. But as far as having his superhero powers, I think his strengths are what I'd like to go for, as far as being superhuman, being able to travel through worlds, being heroic, and through all this I think he has some aspect of patience, to where he likes to help people and is very patient with his enemies. Weaknesses, as I mentioned before, was extreme arrogance and cockiness. He's weak without the hammer, and I think that's more of a mental state, that once he has the hammer, he has all these powers, but if he doesn't have the hammer, then he's just a regular human. Him being a mythological being, of course, hurts him in the real world. I think, having looked at both of these, he's not actually a superhero as one would think. He is, maybe with the hammer and being in Asgard, but he's not as much. So looking at the pros and cons, his weaknesses and strengths, it almost makes you not want to be somebody like him. That's who I had first thought of when I thought of being a superhero, and then as I researched both, I find it better just to maybe be myself. But we talked about his worst faults being Thor, and then in the end we decided that knowing what to do and not to do with his powers, or how to act with his powers, were just as important as having them. Which what's important about comic books and the movies is they're written by humans and written by people like us. So I think it's just best to be yourself. Thank you.